exit planning strategies. The Dan Rossi Show.
In our program today, we're talking about planning to leave your business when you don't plan on leaving it, when you're forced into the situation. And that can be costly. It could even lead to a loss of the business. So I want to share with you a story that I'm reminded of that happened to a gentleman that his name was Darnell Peters, and had everything he'd ever wanted: a large loving family. He had a locally renowned logistics company that continued to grow, and it was very profitable. No obvious health problems, except an occasional twinge in his back. But Darnell chalked that up to a lifestyle of a lot of activity plus an aging body. Seems pretty normal. But after a routine checkup one day, he learned the bad news. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. His doctors told him he had maybe 12 months to live, but that would hinge on whether or not he would agree to very aggressive chemotherapy. So he knew that it would take time for that kind of therapy, and that's going to take him away from his business, and he was actually torn between that. But Darnell's business success, and because it was primarily dependent upon him, he had good managers, but no one that could run the company in his absence. And this is the problem that we talk about so often in our program, when there's tremendous synergy between you, the owner, and your company, your staff, your employees, but they can't move unless you move. When Darnell shared this shocking news with his family and his trusted business advisors, his brother and financial advisor, Stefan, felt he had a duty to do whatever he could to give Darnell as much time with his family as possible. And his brother, loving him very much and understanding his business success, knew that he had a lot to protect. So he started by asking his brother what he wanted to do with the time that he had left. Darnell was put into what he considered an impossible position, but one that he couldn't ignore any longer. He was torn between spending as much time as possible with his family and getting his business affairs in order, because his family's lifestyle relied entirely on that business income. So his silver lining was that he had a trusted team of advisors, including and mainly his brother. Now, how many business owners have that situation in light of a story like this? But Darnell shared the 3 things that he wanted to do. He was prepared for what his goals were. And these were the things that he shared with his brother, Stefan. 1, to be physically with his family as much as possible. 2, to do something that would give them the money they needed to live comfortably for the rest of their lives after he died. And 3, to protect his employees and prevent the business from going bankrupt. Darnell's advisory team scrambled to find someone who could manage the business. Before his diagnosis, Darnell had purchased a $2 million life insurance policy, which would give his family a couple of years of breathing room. And his business had flirted with buyers before, but never anything formal. So he told his team to do whatever they could to fulfill his goals, his plans, and his dreams. Darnell died 9 months after his diagnosis, and his advisory team couldn't find anyone to take the reins of the business in that short time frame. When potential buyers examined the business, they saw that it relied entirely on Darnell's presence. So, the best offer that they received was a paltry $1.5 million, which the advisory team accepted per Darnell's request to do the best that they could do. With $3.5 million between the sale of life insurance payout, Darnell's family survived, and they lived relatively comfortable. But the problem was his goals were not met because this money was not a great enough asset to produce the revenue or the income to the family that they were used to living on. So many things had to be changed. Now, there's a huge question here, and I'm going to put it this way. Death can come unexpectedly. It can destroy your life's work in a matter of weeks or months, as we just seen here in this true story. So, number one is to know what's important to you. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? This is the first, perhaps most important step towards planning for a successful future. Number two, start planning before you're ready. Time is one of the most critical assets that we have if we let time work for us. This is the first and most important step towards difficult times and situations, and we're all living in one right now. I wouldn't blame it totally on the pandemic. Matter of fact, I wouldn't blame it much on that at all. But that's for another program to discuss. But it's here, and we're dealing with it, regardless of whether we want to or not. And the third part to this is becoming inconsequential. A business that relies on you as the owner often dies with the owner. Commit to training or hiring next level management that can run your business in your absence. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean you have to take tremendous amounts of money from company operations, company profits, to pay higher wages, higher salaries, greater benefit packages, and it's going to cost a lot of money where you don't really know the result, if that plus result will happen. You don't need to worry about that, because in building a key management team, and assuming you have nobody on staff now that can be trained, which for most companies, there's usually at least one potential key employee, if he or she has not been identified, can be identified into proper steps to proper planning. And that's your beginning. But even if you have to go out and hire one or two, you hire them as regular employees, but having seen their potential, you put them on a fast track to bring that potential out, challenging them, doing the things that need to be done. So, the prospects of dying without a plan are horrifying. But it's easy to brush it off and believe that's not going to happen to me. However, doing so can also force you, your business, and the people you care about most into a situation that could have been avoided entirely with proper planning. And here at Rossi Business Transition Solutions, we strive and do achieve for our clients what they want, what their goals, what their objectives are. Have a good day. Bye for now.